Hit me. The access code.
In the gritty, overpopulated future of William Gibson's vision, Johnny is a smuggler. His contraband is illicit data, stashed in the long-term memory area of his brain through use of an illegal chip implant. This is about Johnny Mnemonic, Sony Pictures' cyberpunk feature. The production stars Keanu Reeves as Johnny, no last name, with Takeshi Kitano, Ice-T, Dolph Lundgren, Dina Meyer in her movie debut, Henry Rollins, and Udo Kier as Ralphie, Johnny's corrupt agent. In this story, Johnny is in deep trouble. He has overloaded his storage capacity in order to complete one last run, and the data he carries is the property of Pharmacom. The company hires the Yakuza, a transnational organized crime syndicate originating in Japan, to retrieve the stolen data. In the ensuing battle, one of the encryption images necessary for Johnny to deliver the data load is destroyed. In the climax of the story, Johnny must hack his own brain and link his brain to the worldwide computer network by smashing through black ice, ultimately retrieving and uploading a life-saving cure for the entire world to see and put to use. The depiction of the internet as a physical place was a key element in the film. Sony Pictures Imageworks and Braid Media Arts were the CG firms selected for the job of depicting this. Sony was charged with visualizing Johnny's phone interface sequences and vast overviews of the internet. The can opener sequence and the final virtual encounter were Braid's tasks, totaling almost 2 minutes of screen time. Digital artists Daryl Anderson of Colorado Springs and Rick Barry of Boston had worked with William Gibson on other projects. Barry created the original cover art for several of Gibson's books, including the first mass-market paperback edition of Neuromancer and the short story collection Burning Chrome. The latter contains the story on which Johnny Mnemonic is loosely based. Anderson had created package illustrations for the Neuromancer computer game. Artie Romero was brought in to create animated bitmaps, which could be applied to various 3D objects and for other 2D manipulations. He also helped with project management in Braid's Winchester, Massachusetts studio. These three artists had founded a studio together earlier. Gene Bodio of Milford, Massachusetts, was recruited by Braid to assist in the project, bringing a lot of experience with the software of choice, Alias Power Animator version 5. For SGI computers. To assist with character animation, Braid utilized the Flock of Birds motion capture system from Ascension Technology Corp., which provided magnetic tracking of up to 29 key body points. Barry performed Johnny's movements. The computer recording the data was hooked into a quirky Ethernet setup, resulting in occasional gaps in the data stream. Normally, the curves provided by Flock of Birds need to be edited for smoother animation, and this bug added considerably to the workload. Alias Power Animator brought a number of useful tools and effects to the production, including explosions, fog, light beams, and object glow. The frames had to be rendered very large. Many shots included elaborate textures such as moving water, and some frames took up to 5 hours to render on a typical 150 MHz Indigo 2. For some of these scenes, Braid utilized Alias Research's large SGI rendering farm. An SGI Black Onyx supercomputer was also on site at Braid for a short time, and the studio was definitely warmer that winter. Although most of Braid's work on the film was done in Alias Power Animator, a couple of shots were animated in 3D Studio on a Windows PC to utilize some of 3D Studio's unique plug-in effects. For instance, there is a key scene in which Johnny arrives on his virtual brain plates, which resemble a stack of phosphorescent MRI images on glass. Johnny emerges from a beam of light in an implosion animated by Daryl Anderson, utilizing his own code, the Explode plugin, in iPass package number 4 from the Yoast Group. Working with two very different 3D animation platforms presented some special challenges for Anderson, who had to perfectly match the lighting, colors, and camera angles. Artie Romero did his work on a variety of Macintosh computers, using Photoshop and Metaflow to create animated bump maps and textures. The original textures for the encryption chip in Johnny's brain were created by Rick Barry. Typically, Barry paints in oil, then scans his painting and reworks it extensively on his Mac. The chip had several LED-type displays which Romero animated in Photoshop. He took Barry's original TIFF files and created a series of moving displays by cutting and pasting the text into different arrangements, and used Photoshop's airbrush tool to soften the edges of his clips and add a few mysterious flashes of light. Since cyberspace is a strange place, the team endeavored to give it an extremely weird look, with objects materializing and dematerializing somewhat randomly. Braid's goal was to avoid realism, to animate Johnny, shouting, for instance. The team moved radially expanding visual distortions out from Johnny's mouth, around the surface of his head. Romero's first attempt at animating these sound waves used the Pond Ripples filter in Adobe Photoshop to distort Rick Barry's original map of Johnny's face. This was rejected as being too analogous to the real world. Barry suggested using triangle-shaped sound waves. To make this idea work, Romero animated the expanding triangles as a series of monochrome TIFF files, and these were applied frame by frame as successive displacement maps on Johnny's face. It was necessary to blur all the images to give the waves rounded edges, so Photomatic was used to batch process the images. The final result passed the weirdness test. Even today, seeing this elaborate computer animation on Blu-ray is a thrill. Johnny Mnemonic allowed a few computer cowboys to actually visualize the web of the future as a real place. Check it out.
By the way, we use the term cyberspace repeatedly in this video because the word was actually originated by William Gibson, the author of the short story on which Johnny Mnemonic was based. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.